Boobies.
Hello there, fellow Voyagers. My name is Aaron Moss. With me is my wife, Michelle Moss. And this is Voyagers Cast, a Headcast Network 20-episode maxi-series podcast where we look at the greatest time travel show of the early 80s, Voyagers. Joining us on this monthly expedition through time will be several of my podcasting friends and fellow Voyagers. Each month we look at an episode of Voyagers and give you our thoughts. So let's take a look and see where we're landing this time.
Green light, kid. We did it.
Welcome to Voyagers Cast, Episode 8. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Moss, and as usual, joining me is my wife, Michelle.
Hello, hello, hello.
But as usual, we're not alone. Well, I guess we were last month, but we're not alone this month. Rejoining us is the Norwegian? Try that again. The Norwegian smoothness himself, Lee Fillingness.
There you go.
Lee.
Hey, good to be here. I'm feeling very Norwegious today.
Yes, I have a problem with English. It's very hard for me.
That's all right, man. Good to be back.
It's good to have you back, man. The holidays and everything else going on, just been a little swamp. So, but we are here to talk about Voyagers. This time we're looking at episode 8, which was entitled Old Hickory and the Pirates. This first air date was November the 28th of 1982. And I'm going to read the synopsis, which I pulled from Wikipedia. In New Orleans, Louisiana of 1815, the War of 1812 was not ended, and the British controlled the city. Bogg and Jeff helped Meriwether Lewis and William Clark in the Northwest Passage in 1803, just before they go to Bahamas in 1798 to keep Jean Lafitte from being convicted of piracy in his future. There they encounter a group of pirates led by Black Bill Scroggins, and after a swashbuckling scuffle on the beach, Lafayette goes to New Orleans, and the Voyagers jump ahead to the Battle of New Orleans and meet General Andrew Jackson. So that's the synopsis. So Lee, did you watch this one when it first was aired?
Oh, yeah, this is actually one of the ones I remembered. Specifically because I remember, like, I was, about 5 years old when this came out. Specifically, I'm like, hey, that's the guy from the A-Team. He was the bad guy Colonel, the guy playing Andrew Jackson. So, and I remember this was like the first one that actually implied that there was death. Or like actual killing going on instead of like, I'm going to have a sword fight and just like smack somebody on the butt. But, the Battle of New Orleans, you really can't have that without, battle. And
yes.
I think the way they kind of portrayed that with Jeffrey's face was an interesting way to do it. And then he's just fine at the end. I don't know.
So, and Michelle, this is your first time viewing this episode. And again, I watched it when I first came out. I don't remember anything about it until I rewatched it because it's been so long ago and I've watched so much stuff between then. But Michelle, what do you think about this episode?
I enjoyed it for the enjoyment of watching the episode. But honestly, I knew nothing of the historical aspect of it. I did not know. I felt really dumb. I was like, and it kind of took away from the enjoyment of the show, not knowing any of the historical, because I was like, I'm kind of a history buff. I keep saying that. I'm kind of a history buff. And then I'm kind of a history doofus because I didn't know anything this time around. And I was sad. Like, I knew nothing. At least I knew who the president was. Like, I knew his name. I was like, I can't place the face. Like, I don't even know if they got a really good actor that looks like the president, but at least I know the name. And I knew where New Orleans was. But other than that, I just kind of had to take their word for some of it and just enjoy the creative aspect of the show. And to be honest with you, it was nice watching it for just the theatrical aspect of it. And watching it for the theatrical aspect of it, I enjoyed Bog a little bit more this time around because I wasn't like, you're a dumbass, but
He's wearing on you.
no, he's not.
She just loves that bat's breath.
No. He didn't say it this episode, did he?
Nope.
Yes. Maybe that's why I liked this episode.
Probably.
But it was nice to see him all sword fighty, piratey, kind of what he does in a way. But even in the tavern, I was like, man, you're a really horrible pirate. Like, and our son comes in as we're watching. He goes, Mommy, why is his boobie showing? And I'm like, son, his boobies are not showing. His shirt is just open. And they're not really showing his boobies. They're just got his chest open. So you can't see his boobies. But I thought it was cute.
More times than I expected to hear the word boobies on a show about a children's television show. So thank you. I really appreciate that. And for the record, everyone, boobies.
Boobies.
You can't say boobies and be sad. It's just like boobies.
Just the word itself makes you.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a joke on our Quantum Leap one when I do my phone sex operator voice that her name is Tarina. And so like, I'll go something like, boobies. That's Tarina talking.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Boobies.
Oh, thank you. I have a new ringtone.
Well, because our friend Hayden or Hayati, he asks if we can go quantum deep with them. And I'm like, yes, I want to go deep, quantum deep. And he's just like, oh my God, Michelle, stop it. But no, I enjoyed watching him do sword fights and actually be up on the rock. And, he's swinging that little rapier around. And
at that point where he says, wow, you're just like Errol Flynn. The choreography and kind of the backwards movement is actually taken out of an Errol Flynn movie called Captain Blood. They have a fight, and it might even be at the same place.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But I am really disappointed that I did not know what was in that chest.
Boobies.
It was what do you call it?
It was booty. Booty. Pirates have booty. So yes.
Booty. That's what I was trying to think of.
The two gals that stole it
had boobies.
Yep. And wonderful 80s mall hair. I did not realize that was the de rigueur fashion of the late 1700s in Nassau.
Yes. Yes, they got it from the local mall.
And no one had moles, like the moles that you usually see on like French women.
Yeah.
What movie was it where they went back to like a thing and they had moles? I think it was like Monty Python or something, or they go into some kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, when they're talking to the anarcho-syndicalist peasants.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dennis, there's some lovely filth down here. And he's got the mole
yes. That's fantastic.
So, Lee, what are your thoughts on this episode?
There's some stuff that I was actually really surprised. Michelle was talking about the not knowing the history, and I do. And what really surprised me is they actually brought they used footage, I'm pretty sure, from the film The Battle of Balaclava, which is where we get the term the Thin Red Line.
Oh, okay.
The 93rd Sutherland Highlanders actually were at the Battle of New Orleans. So, and they're kind of like the most famously well-disciplined and crazy soldiers in, kind of that period of British military history. There's still a football club named after them in Britain. And they're also crazy. But yeah, these literally, when you hear like the Thin Red Line, it started with them. Battle of Balaclava, they were the only military forces between the Russian cavalry and the city of Balaclava. And normally an infantry square is 4 people deep, but they were only able to get 2 people deep. And they still routed this Russian cavalry charge. And so the term Thin Red Line, which, now we have the Thin Blue Line and, whatever, the Thin Red Line movie that was horrible. comes from that. So they were at this battle, and they were slaughtered because they were it's called a supplemental regiment. They were under the command of a different commanding officer, and they got to their position and they had no orders to either attack or retreat, to displace, anything like that. And so they sat there and they just got mown down by the cannons that we saw dug up in the earthworks.
Right.
Basically, they just used the canals that kind of make New Orleans possible, and also helped flood it a few years back. They built those up as fortifications, and when you're dealing with muskets and cannon fire, that's more than enough.
Right.
And that was pretty fantastic. And you get that level of accuracy, and then you go to Lewis and Clark, and it's talking about, oh, you're the first white faces we've seen in weeks. It's like, no, you went with a team of about 15 people, including Sergeant Floyd, who I only know this because he was one of the first to die. There's a monument to him in Sioux City, which is 30 miles south of where I grew up.
Okay.
So the Sergeant Floyd monument in Sioux City was always this kind of cool thing. And now apparently it's a big place to meet up and hook up. Go kids.
Well, maybe they all died 2 weeks prior to this, and
well, most of them got to the Pacific Northwest.
I don't know.
But yeah, so to have those two mixed up, the one thing I really wish that we would have gotten a little bit more of Andrew Jackson. He's a bit of a bastard, a bit of a polarizing figure in American history, but still interesting enough to have more than just stoic guy on a horse.
Why was he such a bastard? I don't know about him.
The Trail of Tears?
Nope, nothing.
Basically they took a whole bunch of Native Americans, displaced them off their land, made them march through winter. Thousands of them died.
Wow.
I live very near several reservations, and it's still bad luck for a lot of Native people to actually have 20s in their wallet. So they'll pay 10s, 50s, 5s, 100s, but they don't want the 20s.
Wow.
So, and that's, over 100 and almost 200 years later now.
Yeah.
Oh, over 200 years. When was he president? Right around then. So 200-ish. Yeah.
So you would think that the Native American culture would have fought for him to be removed off of the dollar bill by now.
Oh, it's been a constant one.
Has it?
Yeah. There was one set a few years ago to change, and it was just like everything else, got mired down in bureaucracy, and you can wave the political correctness flag and people automatically dismiss it, but when it's somebody that committed pretty significant genocide, like maybe we can not call that political correct. Maybe he's just a bastard.
All these high schools and all these football teams are now removing their like Kansas City Chiefs or whatever are changing their emblem and their name. Aren't they changed? They changed their name, didn't they?
Yeah, quite a few of them. And that's just one that, people stick to some stuff like that. And, part of me gets it, like the high school that my sister went to in the 90s was the Millard South Indians. Now it's the Millard South Patriots. Mm-hmm. But like to me, like I drive by that school every time I'm back home. I'm like, it still seems, even though I know why and I agree with it, like it still seems like it should be the Indians. Yeah. And there's some people that don't see the way that kind of hurts other people, and so you end up with bad choices, I guess. I don't know. Yeah,
we have ours is the Apaches. Yeah, Aaron's was the Redskins. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, and up here it's the Vikings, but we're a Norwegian city, and we basically like you can speak Norwegian across the city, and at least 1 in 100 people are going to understand what you said.
Huh.
That's cool.
Very nice.
Really? I can snakke norsk I dag.
Really? I didn't know that about you.
My grandparents were Norwegian. That was their secret language, and so my sister and I learned it.
There you go.
Yeah, I just remember Grandpa finding out that we knew Norwegian when he said "Taya stille gamle geit" to Grandma, which means "shut up, you old goat," and you do not say that to Grandma.
Oh shoot!
But
he said that to Grandma, or you said that to Grandma?
He said that to Grandma.
And she backhanded him or something, and you guys laughed, or what?
No, my sister and I went white. Like, what?
Like, whoa, Grandpa.
But no, my sister and I have actually been back to Norway several times. She went to school there for a year. When I was going to school in France, I would actually go home to Norway because A, it's a lot more interesting in Iowa than Iowa was, and B, it was a lot cheaper to fly to Norway and stay on my aunt's couch.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's my view on the historical accuracies, such as they are.
So did the actor look like Andrew Jackson?
I mean, a bit, yeah. I mean, if you're going through the studio system, I mean, he's got that kind of gaunt, angular, kind of stiff upper lip sort of look to him.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have found somebody better, but, they would have had to search longer. And, for a 1 hour kids show, I don't know that they needed to do any better.
And yeah, he was in office from 1829 until 1837.
Okay.
So just shy of 200 years he was in office.
Yeah, that's right, because he was the president during the Alamo. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was 1834, 1835? Yeah.
So one of the things we were talking about after he gave Jeffrey the medal was if we get to see the medal anymore throughout the other shows. Do you remember if he has the medal in any of the other shows?
Well, I mean, he pinned it on the vest that I don't think he'll ever wear again. So, yeah.
Poor Jeffrey.
That's what Michelle's like, oh, he's got a medal. I'm like, I think this is the last time I'll probably ever see it.
And I'm also kind of wondering, like, where he got the money for, well, I guess he did steal some from or where did he get the money? Because he didn't actually get into the hoard in the beginning, but he had some money to give to the beggar.
Yeah, I don't know where. That's why I was wondering what he's going to give him. I'm like, well, you going to give him like a quarter? And they're going to yes.
Well, it was like a replica coin from the Atocha rack. Like, I've actually got one of those. So that was another weird little, that would have been Catholic. That would have been roughly of the period. Yeah. So where did he get that? Maybe he got it from Bog. Like, here, kid, have some spending money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't waste it on the sleazers in the bar, but
Yeah.
That's his job.
if you give this to one, they'll make you into a man.
By the way that he was like trying to shut Anne down was so funny. No, believe me, it's better this way. That way we'll only have good memories and we won't have to say goodbye. Dude.
Yeah.
He got that from Bog. He did. Like,
no, that's what Bog was saying to Anne. Like when she's like, "Don't you want something to drink?" Like she's trying to drug him. Like,
okay, yeah. I was still on the Jeffrey thing.
Yeah.
Because I could see Jeffrey talking like that to a woman trying to be all boggish, to like get his way to do something. Like when he was trying to talk those ladies into going to get the booty.
Right.
Yeah. By the way, wouldn't that be great to just have Mino Peluche come back, do like a couple episodes, like as just a dude in our time,
right?
Completely, psychologically damaged because of like everything that he went through.
He can't hold a real relationship.
Yeah. A pirate dragged me around time, and I saw my first slaughter when I was 8. Tell me something, kid. You ever see what a 10-pound cannon does to a man? Come on.
Yeah. I enjoyed this episode also. I think maybe it was a missed opportunity that they could have, since Bog was a pirate, maybe they could have said it's, because I don't know if they ever say what year Bog comes from, but maybe they could have said it around, or have Bog come from this time and have it be someone that he knows.
Yeah.
Or, maybe get a little more backstory on Bog.
That's what I was hoping too. Remember, I was so excited. I was like, yay, pirates. We'll actually learn some stuff maybe about Bog. Yeah, I was so stoked for this. And then I totally forgot like why I was stoked for this thing, because I was just like, all right, I'm just going to watch it for like shits and giggles, But
yeah, that was a missed opportunity. Like if he had been friends with Lafitte.
Yeah.
It would have been like, oh, it's the first time he knew something.
Yeah. No, this is.
That's what I was telling Aaron. I was like, maybe it's, Bog will know stuff and Jeffrey will learn from him, but no.
Yeah, no, they had the perfect opportunity to do that. And yeah, they kind of let it slip through their fingers.
Yeah. And he could have even had like a moment like Jeffrey had with Billy the Kid a few episodes back, where he's like realizing, oh, this person that I've idolized is bad.
Right.
Yeah. That actually could have been, good. And, and again, like, why go to, Lewis and Clark and, just like, scare off some Native Americans and, point them towards a gorge? Like that was not even, I mean, it could have been there because, I mean, that is the Louisiana Purchase.
Right.
So, I mean, you could have had like a Louisiana story, but they spend most of it in Nassau, even though it's the Battle of New Orleans. and the Lewis and Clark expedition, and yeah, Lafitte was a pirate, but he was famous for what he was doing in New Orleans.
Right. Yeah, I think they were just at the time more interested in doing a pirate story. But again, they missed the opportunity to do a bog pirate story, but it was still good nonetheless. But yeah,
I think they were still trying to shove so much history at you that it was not about bog.
Yeah. Well, I think like they just have that formula. Jeffrey knows stuff, Bog does stuff, and they go places.
Yeah. There's a certain pattern what they use, and that's where they stick to it. But
and when you're selling it to kids, like that's perfect.
Yeah,
we want to see ourselves as the smart one, and we want to see the grown-ups as people that protect us.
Well, didn't I call it a fishbowl?
Yes, I think you did.
I said that they had a fishbowl thing where they put a bunch of things in a fishbowl and they pull them out, and they're like, tonight we're gonna go to see Babe Ruth and shake it up, and we gotta match Babe Ruth with Cleopatra. How are we gonna get this to work?
Last episode.
And they're like, okay, so it's like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. How are we going to make this work? And we're like, all right, so Babe's got to do this, and Cleopatra, we'll have her going to New York. Yeah, that sounds good. Now what else do we do? And that's just how they're all ran. But remember, we got to throw history in there, and so she has to meet up with Mark Antony somehow. Oh, we can put him at the end. It's just.
But she's got to have a crush on Bog first.
Yes.
Most women do.
Yeah, because they can see his boobies.
Yes, they can see his. I was thinking the same thing. But
this might be my favorite episode because we've all said boobies so many times.
Yeah, but it's just funny. Grayson comes in and stops, looks at the TV, and he's like, why can we see his boobies? like, oh, son. Go back and play with your Barbies. What else did I want to ask? There's something else I wanted to ask. Now it's slipped my mind. Give me a second here. I must have missed it, but how did Jeffrey know about the treasure chest in sand?
They came upon him when they landed in the first scene.
I don't remember that. Maybe I was dealing with Grayson at the moment.
They landed, and Jeffrey went up over and looked over and was watching them bury it.
Oh, that's right.
Back up. That's when.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember.
Black Bill Scroggins or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
What a just lame name for a pirate. Like, might as well just call him Kevin.
Kevin the pirate.
Yep. No offense to Kevin Reitzel, my co-host. I just like the least pirate name I can think of, except maybe Kyle. Sorry, Kyle.
Kevin, he's calling you lame.
I'm going to give Kevin crap about that next time we record G.I. Joe.
Please do.
Podcasting editor's note. Aaron forgot to tease Kevin about this.
Like, hey, Kevin, are you a pirate? Do we see your boobies?
No, I'm not going to ask Kevin that because he may show us. So.
Yeah, and you can't unsee it. God knows I've tried.
Oh, you've seen Kevin's boobies.
Yes, they're luscious. I'm going to get fired.
Well, then it won't be sexual harassment anymore.
Yep. Well, if you didn't want me to say anything, you shouldn't wear the Mandalorian armor with the Raiders logo on it. I don't know.
So he was the Raider guy in your podcast last time?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the Raider fan.
Oh, okay, so he was
the Raider nerd.
No, Stiletto was somebody else.
Okay. Now, did you notice that when they landed first, they landed in that circle garden thing, and it actually bounced with them? Like there was a trampoline underneath.
Yes.
Very soft ground. Very springy.
Yep.
I thought that was funny.
No, that was, and I'm pretty sure that's the same set that they used for Germany in the first episode. And they just like, oh, we're just going to put this sign on the door, and we're going to put a British flag up there.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I could see them reusing the sets because
why not? And honestly, it worked.
Yeah.
But I will say that there was a lot of ADR in this show that didn't need to be there.
What's ADR?
Additional dialogue recording. It's when you hear words being said, but you don't actually see people talk. Like basically everything they said as they're walking along the beach, everything the soldiers said when they tried to shoot him in the first part of 1815.
Bob was fighting that one pirate on the rocks.
Yeah.
That's when Michelle's like, wow, nice voiceover there.
Yep, exactly. Like that was a little bit too much of it in my opinion, but
yeah.
That's why you said I started laughing because Michelle had just mentioned that when we watched it.
I'm like, wow, nice voiceovers. They sure did a lot of them.
Oh, there was another weird historical thing that I found odd about this, that they would include it and not mention it. When they got the sailors drunk,
right,
and kidnapped them and put them on the boat, that wasn't a pirate thing. That was a British Navy thing. It's called pressing or press ganging.
Oh,
and they just that was the cause of 1812.
I've heard of things like that happening, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
penetrating it. Okay.
It was kind of still during the Napoleonic Wars. They were because of the friendship between America and France, even though it kind of wilted because we didn't know who to support during the Revolution. We were still taking supplies to Europe. And so any supplies going to continental Europe were assumed by the British to be going to Napoleon and his armies. So they would take the ships and then press American sailors into service. And that was like a big thing. But there was all sorts of ways that the British military would do this. They'd get you drunk and you'd be on a ship and they'd tell you, whoa, you don't remember signing on for 3 years? Man, you must have had way too much. With the army, though, like if you picked up a coin that like a recruiter left behind, you just took the king's shilling, that's your first pay, and you're like signed on for 2 years. So like there was all sorts of, kind of stupid tricks that the British military were using to get people involved so that, and they, like I said, they would get them drunk in a tavern and put them on board. But why would pirates do that? And why would you have something about the War of 1812 that would have one of the major reasons of the War of 1812 be included, but not have anything to do
with the war?
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're just going to do this 14 years before the start. Okay. And it's not going to be the British Navy. It's going to be Black Kevin Scruggins. I'm going to change his nickname in my phone now.
Yeah, I was thinking Steve the Pirate.
And you need to change his picture to a pair of boobies.
Yes, I was thinking Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball, but I like Kevin the Pirate better.
Speaking of Dodgeball, before all of the big shutdown, we did a drunk table read play of Dodgeball.
Oh.
And I got to play Patches O'Houlihan.
Oh, jeez.
And, because it's the theater community, every time I opened my mouth, I would literally address the audience and I'd say, it's in the script. This is not me saying this. I'm reading the words that were in the script of the movie that you bought tickets to watch us perform. And I think that's the only way I got out of there alive.
A bunch of pansies.
I can't even think of any of the bad lines that I can say on air right now, but they're all wonderful. Everyone go watch Dodgeball.
Yes, I would have to bleep if you did. So
exactly.
This isn't Dodgeball. So.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
I'm the one in our shows that always gets bleeped. Like all the time I get bleeped. In every episode I get bleeped.
See, I just thought you were R2D2 all this time. Apparently you just, you have Tourette's syndrome or...
Mm-hmm. There you go. That'll work.
My parents thought I had Tourette's syndrome. Really, I'm just a jerk.
Sweet Lord.
I'm just a foul-mouthed princess.
Yeah.
And that's why we all love you, Michelle.
There you go.
I'm normally foul-mouthed, but I try to keep it clean for my shows.
He's learned how to do it. I haven't yet.
Someday.
No. I don't plan it.
The other thing I was going to say, like, this when they say, "Oh, this is the battle where everyone realized they had to take us seriously," it really wasn't. Like, we kind of lost the War of 1812. The British retreated, because it's like whatever, and they signed accords, and this battle was fought after, we'd signed the truce. Right. So it was like nobody knew the war was over, so they were still fighting, and that's all.
So why did Jeffrey idolize Andrew Jackson so much then?
Well, I mean, he is one of the more well-known presidents. His exploits were, depending on how big of a history nerd you are, they were pretty legendary. Old Hickory. That's just kind of one of the great nicknames of all time, and he rode that into office, into better or worse. Like I said, the Trail of Tears, Alamo. The Texas Revolution, all that sort of stuff, the Mexican campaigns. And he was president of basically the army that included all of the great generals that became the generals on both sides of the Civil War. So the Texas Revolution, you've got Lee, you've got Longstreet, you've got Lowell, you got Pickett, you've got, trying to remember any of them, but like pretty much every name you've heard at the Battle of Gettysburg, every officer pretty much fought in those campaigns. So he's just like this point in history around which important, for good or bad, things happened. Okay. And so he's just like a linchpin in American history. Not saying he's a good person. I've actually said he's a bastard. But you can't deny that he was an important character.
Pivotal person in American history.
And, the way that it's taught when I was a kid versus the way that it's taught now has changed people's opinions of it. But yeah.
And see, now Jeffrey is older than you are.
Yep.
He would have been taught. He probably, that's what I was thinking. Growing up, being a kid, teenager in the 80s. Yeah, he probably didn't hear about the bad stuff that Jackson did. It was just here, there's a little white boy that, did all this good stuff for America.
Yep.
Not talk about this stuff. But he's really, so that's what Jeffrey knows. And that's why Jeffrey looks up to him.
Well, and even at this point, anything, there's still plenty of oppression of Native Americans. I mean, I was born 77, just shortly after the second standoff at Wounded Knee.
Right.
And that was, a couple hours from my house.
Wow.
And so that was, and the prosecution was still going on probably at about this time. I'd have to read the book again. But if you want to learn more about that, Crow Dog Speaks, and there's a book about the revolution written by Mary Crow Dog, who were both at the standoff, and kind of their perspectives on things kind of opened my eyes to the world that I had actually lived in, just not realizing what people on the other side of the street thought.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, yeah.
Go to your local library and read a book.
Exactly. See what this show did to me? I constantly go to the damn library, constantly read books. Liberal agenda.
Lee, what month were you born?
July.
Oh, okay. So you're a couple months older than me.
Yeah, but I'm a feeble old man now.
Hey, we're not old. Don't call me old.
Oh, I'm old. I'm a collection of injuries held together by scar tissue and hubris.
Just too stupid to lie down and die.
Yeah. Well, I'm stupid enough to keep doing stunts at my age. I mean, come on.
So we went to this one mall one day, and they literally had like a vending machine for books.
Cool.
It was, you like went through an actual menu, and then you could use your library card, swipe it, and then it would literally go through and pull the book out and drop it in the slot. And my husband was so excited that he had to have me take a picture of him standing in front of it. Like if it was some like landmark or something, that was... And so here we are. He's smiling real big and taking his picture right in front of this vending machine book thing. And people are kind of walking by like, huh?
I could actually see him doing that. I like this.
We'll have to find the picture and send it to you.
The future is now. What can I say?
Yes, I'm a big fan of books, big fan of libraries. So yeah, seeing something like that in the mall, I was just head over heels.
Yeah. Oh, he was like a little kid in a bookstore, candy store, whatever you want to say.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
He's like, honey, take my picture. And then I'm like the enabler. I'm like, well, find a book you want. He's like, no, because then we got to return it. I'm like, but we can come back. Get a book. And it's funny. I'm always that enabler. Like we go to a comic book store. I'm like, oh, look, it's like it's Cobra Commander. I'm like, just get it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, get it. You never get anything for yourself. Just get it.
See, that's the kind of lady I need in my life. Like I started selling off a whole bunch of my swords recently, and then I bought more swords. And one of my lady friends is like, "Well, why were you selling off your swords? I thought you were trying to get rid of them." I'm like, "No, I was trying to get rid of those, but I want these now." So, what's the matter?
With me, I understand perfectly.
Yeah, there's a zompocalypse on the way, and I am not going to get caught unprepared.
Oh, very nice.
Plus, you never know when you might have to defend two barmaids digging up treasure and have a really bad fight with a shovel.
Oh, Jesus Christ. At first, I thought you were talking about the show, and then I realized what you were actually talking about.
Yes, he was talking about the show.
Yeah. Wait, what did you think I was talking about? Now I'm curious.
Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, I mean, that too. Yeah. Oh, I love me some Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. But yeah, no, when Lafitte was fighting the pirates there on the beach, he was using a shovel for a while.
Oh, I had Grayson in my arms, so I was kind of a little bit preoccupied.
He asked one gal for the sword, and she's like, "They've got plenty over there. Get one of theirs."
Oh, I did see her say that.
Yeah, and he's fighting with a shovel.
That's right, yeah. Well, you did a darn good job.
I like how you can spank a pirate and they just go away. I mean, that's really, the whole golden age of piracy is a lot less manly than I thought it was.
But I am not left-handed.
Hey, can you swim?
What you don't understand is I am not left-handed too.
What's really great is both of them would have known that because they're both carrying their swords on their left hip. So that means that they are right-handed and they're both just messing with them. Like,
God, I love that movie.
I'll send you a picture, but I actually have Inigo and Wesley's swords.
Do you really?
Yeah, with a little plaque signed by Rob Reiner and everything.
No way.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah. Like I said, I had to sell swords to buy swords.
So will you put me in your will?
Maybe. I don't know. Give me some of Brother Head's sweet G.I. Joe collection. We might be able to talk.
Grayson likes Barbies. If I promise him my Barbie collection, I think I might pull that off.
Nice. Let's do it.
I'm about to sleep with one eye open.
And your pillow tight.
Over your head.
Oh, but enough about killing me off. Voyagers. Michelle, do you have anything else to talk about on actual Voyagers? Not library books and not killing me off to get swords from Lee, but...
Oh, he's not giving those up anytime soon. I gotta wait till he dies off. Like I sound really disappointed.
Well, no, he has to die so that I can have his G.I. Joe toys.
Yeah, so you give him
so that it's worth it to me. Otherwise, I'll give them to somebody someone in my stupid family.
But see what I can. No, yeah, you're right.
So, Aaron, sleep with one eye open.
No, Lee, what do you think? Any of the thoughts on this episode?
No,
I kind of mentioned it. I think it would have been interesting if they had made it more about Louisiana and how important that was. Because, I mean, this was, the first real, Manifest Destiny, Western expansion. It was just the purchase of Louisiana itself was controversial because Jefferson shouldn't have done it. Right. It was not exactly legal. He just went ahead and did it and said, hey, we've got all this land, bought it from Napoleon, I want to say 1804. And, they had to go out and survey it. And then they started encroaching on traditionally Spanish territories. Basically the Plains states were still very much Native American land. So getting through that, which is why they had Sacagawea along with them kind of act as interpreter and kind of a ambassador, basically. I think that would have been a really interesting story to somehow get through, with them because, and like I said, there are more than two people involved in the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Yeah. Michelle,
Yes.
If you stop talking about killing me for a little bit, any of your thoughts on this episode of Voyagers?
I liked it for what it was worth. Like I said, I enjoyed it as more of a what did I call it? More of a
Fishbowl?
No, I called it more of a entertainment aspect than a historical. Because in the past there's been more like I could pick out the actual
flaws.
Historical flaws or just the historical.
Like what he was doing.
Yeah, because he actually knew everything about it because he's more of a savant than a history buff.
That's French for huge nerd, for anyone that wasn't.
Hey, I know some French. Woohoo!
Vraiment, nous puissions parler français la prochaine fois.
Si.
Oui, oui.
Que bueno.
I said wee wee and boobies tonight. Woohoo! No.
Okay, there goes the adult tag for this episode.
Everyone's going to be wondering, why is R2-D2 on this episode?
But in all honesty, no, I enjoyed it for the entertainment value. The historical aspect lost me because I really didn't know anything. I liked the pirate fight for what it was worth, watching Bog on the Rock do his piratey thing. I thought the two maids and the Jeffrey thing was a bunch of bupkis. It just bugged me. Like,
did you feel hornswoggled?
I just felt like two ladies is not really adults are really going to give a child the time of day, but then again, he did say that Bog was his counterpart and that they had him. So I could see how he might be able to lead them into wanting to check it out. But it just still felt a little bit far-fetched for me in that aspect. But I liked it. I liked it better than Cleo and the Babe when I first watched it. Because Cleo and the Babe just pissed me off in all aspects of everything about Cleo and the Babe pissed me off when I first watched it. Because the whole Jeffrey running his mouth just absolutely just pissed me off. But I don't know. It had a flow to it, and I just enjoyed it for the entertainment value, I guess, this time around. And maybe that's why nothing bothered me, is because I just watched it to be entertained and not, I couldn't pick apart any of the historical stuff because I knew nada. So I don't know. It looks like episode 9 because Aaron's got the disc up. I'm not sure I'm going to know anything about the Japanese or Chinese stuff either. So
the travels of Marco and friends.
Marco Polo?
Maybe. We'll pin that till next time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That looks like an interesting one. I might have to come back for that.
I hope you do. It really is nice having you on the show.
The resident nerd.
There you go. And I enjoyed this episode. I would have liked it better had they focused more on, for a pirate episode, focused more on Bog's backstory.
Yes.
And now that you mention it, Lee, if they would have focused more on the Louisiana Purchase, like you were saying. I didn't really think that at the time because I was too, I guess, disappointed that we weren't getting more on Bog at this point. But, and like I know we will get a little more on Bog later on, but I think this would have been a good opportunity.
We do?
Sure.
Spoilers, sweetie.
Well, I'm not saying how much more. I'm not saying what we know about Bog. We find a little bit about Bog. A little bit.
Do we see his boobies?
I don't remember about that.
We've seen his boobies because he's been shirtless. My daughter in the background. What? She goes, I hear the weirdest conversation.
What good is having kids if you can't embarrass them? Am I right?
That's what I do. That's what that. But
we're not the ones that walk around in weird wigs and like try to cosplay weird anime characters. So at least I'm good at it.
Your daughter has won Tuesday. I guess it's still Monday where you are.
It's still Monday here for another hour. But I don't have much more to say beyond that. And yeah, like I said, my sleep was one open for a while, but but I guess that's going to do it for this episode. Unless either of you guys have anything else that you want to mention on here, that, I'm recording.
No. Well, actually, yeah. Over on on the Mullet Network with our friend Adam O'Brien, I'm actually co-host on a new show over there, the Mando Mullet. We'll be doing kind of the deep, random stream of consciousness dive into the Star Wars universe.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, he and I have been kind of gotten a good following for our movie reviews because they just we go off on these great tangents, and then every so often one of us is like, so we're supposed to be talking about Rising Sun. I don't know how we got to Gettysburg.
Gettysburg.
Yeah, it was an interesting episode. I think we were both exhausted.
Really cool.
Anything else you wanna pimp?
It's called Mando Mullet.
Mando Mullet. He's the mullet, even though he's bald, and I've actually got a mullet. And of course, catch me on Blood of Kings over on the Fandom Podcast Network with Kevin Scruggins, the pirate, my good buddy over there. We're going to be doing some more Culture Clash coming up. I think our next year we're covering is 1981. So some fun movies came out that year. Enter the Ninja, of course. So
81 movies.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're doing?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, that sounds really cool too.
Yeah, they covered a lot of the 80s movies.
What, can you give me some movies that you're going to be doing?
Well, I know that Enter the Ninja was one of them because that's just like when they said that was on the list, and I'm like, yeah, you got to have me back for that one. I'm the resident ninja on the network. Trying to remember any of the others. It was we finished recording that episode about a month ago. But that was like at the tail end of we just finished a 5-part review of the movies in 1995. Yeah, it was fun for me because I actually worked in a movie theater during that time. So I actually put together half the prints and watched almost all of the movies.
Wow. Well, if you ever hit 1986 and decide to do Labyrinth.
I know they've done 85. 86 might have to be on that list.
86 is when Labyrinth was released.
Yeah, I was just looking through my
and that is like my movie. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 purses, 2 wallets, and some other paraphernalia of Labyrinth. Like, I am a huge nerd about that movie.
Do you know why I'm so disappointed right now?
Why?
When you were talking about Cleo and the Babe, I so wanted to say, what babe?
Oh, you should have. Oh my God. I would have just absolutely flipped out.
And for everyone that doesn't know, what babe?
So Cleo and the Babe is one of those.
Babe?
The babe with the power.
What power?
The power of voodoo.
Voodoo? Hoodoo.
Voodoo. Do what? Remind me of the babe.
What babe? We're grown-ups.
Dance, magic, dance.
Everything I've done for you.
I still.
That sounded a little more like Neil Diamond. Sorry about that,
actually,
folks.
You did really good. I want a labyrinth tattoo. I don't have any, but I want a labyrinth tattoo.
Should get that weird caterpillar one.
The worm?
Yeah. If you'd gone that way, it would have taken you straight to the castle.
Okay. Oh, I love that. I like when he says, come inside and meet the missus. And have a nice spot of tea. Oh, and hoggle. Oh, whenever anybody tells me you're horrible, I literally say, no, I'm not. I'm hoggle. No, I mean, I live for those moments. Like anytime anybody says you're horrible, I will say, no, I'm not. I'm hoggle. It doesn't matter who it is.
My nephew, one time, his mom asked him, hey, buddy, you got to calm down. And he's just like, I'm not a buddy, I'm a Ninja Turtle. And he stormed off. And it's my favorite thing I think I've ever seen a kid do.
Oh, that's funny. I'm more happy about. Can we please do just a Labyrinth? I want to do a Labyrinth podcast so bad.
Figure out when.
You want to do a Labyrinth podcast with us, Lee?
Sure. I haven't seen it in a few years. It'd be a good reason to get back to it.
Okay, watch it soon, please.
That's got to be on Disney Plus. It's a Henson thing, right?
I don't think it's on Disney Plus.
I'll find it somewhere.
So, Aaron, why don't you go ahead and reach in your little pocket of yours and pull out that nice round gold watch-looking thingy called the Omni.
You didn't.
And open it up and tell me, is it red or green, and can we leave now?
All right, green light, and
What? Tell me.
Marco.
Polo?
That's interesting. We'll talk about it next time.
Wait, what?
I read something interesting, but we'll talk about it next time.
Okay, you reading something interesting and me reading something interesting is far different. So I would like a clue.
Well, Phineas is a Voyager.
Oh, gee, mini Christmas.
We assume that there may be other Voyagers out there.
We're going to see more Voyagers besides Jeffrey and Bog?
Maybe. You have to come in next month and see.
Bat's breath.
If you want to learn more about the Wright brothers, Eddie Rickenbacker, and the early days of flying, take a voyage to your nearest public library. It's all in books.
Thank you for listening. This has been Voyagers Cast, a proud member of the Hit Cast Network family of shows. All copyrights belong to respective owners, and no copyright infringement is intended or implied. We're just a huge fan of time travel shows, and Voyagers in particular. Be sure to join us monthly as we watch where Phineas and Jeffrey land next. And if you enjoy this show, check out the other shows on the Headcast Network. The first week of the month, we have Head Speaks and the Starbright Project. Head Speaks is where I talk about comic books, TVs, movies, books, anything geeky. The Starbright Project is where Michelle and I look at another great time travel series, Quantum Leap, and then we'll talk about it. The second week of the month brings you G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast, and this show, Voyagers Cast. Over on my G.I. Joe show, we look at the G.I. Joe comics and cartoons from the late 80s. The third week of the month, we drop both Task Force X and Retrospect to the 80s. Task Force X is a show that looks at the Suicide Squad and Checkmate books from the late 80s. Retrospect to the 80s, surprisingly enough, is a show where Michelle and I, and possibly some guests, look back at what we think is the greatest decade there was, the 80s. Finally, the fourth week of the month, I release the Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour and Bravo Team. Starman Manhunter is a show where I look at the Will Payton Starman and the Mark Shaw Manhunter books, both from the late 80s. Yes, I have a time period. Bravo Team is my sister show to the G.I. Joe team, or maybe brother show, where we look at anything else G.I. Joe related. We'll be back next month to join our friends Phineas and Jeffrey as they leap into, well, the unknown. Until then, remember, may your landings always be soft
And your lights always be green.